group. The group variable contains the group numbers 1 and 2, depending whether the data measure came from a person in group 2, as you see here, or a person in group 1, as you see here. This is also known as a stacked data set. So if you hear somebody say, oh, my data is stacked, what they do is they stack one group on top of the other and use a group variable to make two columns of the data. It comes in handy, and a lot of programs use it. We don't care what this represents. It's just data we're going to import into R and learn how to use a little bit. So without further ado, let's get to R. As you can see, I'm a Linux Mint fan. Anyways, you open RStudio and you get the classic blank R screen that looks like this. This will be the pad or your scratchbook to do all your statistics work. And it's free, so you really can't beat it. But anyways, we want to import the data set. And we need to look for something that says word import. So we look around the box and only see one place that says import. And better yet, it says import dataset. And that's exactly what we want to do. We click it and we get a choice. We can either import it off the web or import it out of a text file. And today, we're going to take it out of a text file. Now we all know this from working in Office and other things. We have to go find our data set. So let's go find it. Luckily, I keep it right here in the video project because obviously I'm making a video. Once you've found your file, you click Open and you get this box. The Import Dataset box basically is the place where you tell R how your data is formatted. For example, our data set had a header. It had the word measure and group on top. So we click Yes for heading, so it knows how to label the columns. Our separator, if you go look at the file, is white space. There was no commas anywhere or anything like that. It was literally just empty space that separated the columns. Therefore, we choose white space. Our decimal is a period because I'm in the US and we use periods. And we don't have any quotes, so who cares? But we can see the initial file that looked like this. It had the header in both columns, just as text. And the preview window, also known as a data frame, has the headers in bold. So R was able to detect the headers and label them properly. And it broke up the data into two columns very nicely because we told it there's white space in between as to separate the columns. Since our data frame looks pretty good, we click Import. And that magically imports our data. Our variable, or where the data is stored, or the data frame as R calls it, contains 300 observations given two variables. But we knew this already. The variables are over here. Measure and group. And there's 300 entries. Now we have to attach a data set so R can actually use it. And we do that by issuing the attach command. Like that. That tells R the data we just imported, known as one ANOVA, here and here, is a data set we're going to work with. And now we can pull up the measure variable at will by typing in measure. And there are all our measurements, all 300 of them. Now, in real life, if you're working on your dissertation, you'd be doing some sort of statistical test or something. You'd be doing something productive with the data. Here, you can do some fun things like summary, measure, and this will give us the descriptive statistics of the data. As you can see, the minimum value is negative 15.27. It comes out with the maximum value. It gives you the quartiles. The mean, right here, sorry, that's the mean, and the median. Also, if you really are bored, you can plot your data. You have to spell measure right, of course, not like your professor. And you'll see that it plots out your data as a scatter plot. The index is the case number, so case number 1 is 23. So if you look for number 1, like it would be here, there it is. That's number 23. Number 13, well, you kind of have to eyeball it and figure it out, but it's in there. So that's your data. And you can kind of see it's clustered around some sort of line that travels upwards a little bit. Now we're done with the data, so let's detach it. That frees up the memory from the data, and if you noticed, our data's gone. But don't freak out. We can always reattach it. And by pressing tab fills in the word for you. And your data will reappear once again. So today's lesson was importing a data set, attaching it, detaching it, and reattaching it.